Now we are going to learn naming organic compounds of different functional groups. For example, consider alcohol. The functional group of alcohol is OH. We use ol for alcohol while naming its compounds. For example, consider a single carbon atom to form a single bond with OH. Now this whole thing is alcohol because it contains OH functional group. This carbon has formed only one bond, so it will form 3 bonds with 3 hydrogen atoms. Now if we hide OH group, this carbon contains single bond, so it is a methane. While for OH group of alcohol, we use ol. To combine these two terms, we get methanol. Remember that we eliminate E of the alkane part like methane. So this is a methanol, a molecule of alcohol. Secondly, consider 3 carbon atoms and OH functional group is bonded to 8. So this is a molecule of alcohol. This carbon has formed one bond, write H3. This carbon and this carbon have formed 2 bonds each, write H2 and H2. There are 3 carbon atoms present in it. I write propane. Also there is OH group. I write ol. So I get propanol, which is alcohol. Thirdly, consider 5 carbon atoms and OH functional group is bonded to 8. I complete the valency of each carbon H3, H2, H2, H2 and H2. There are 5 carbon atoms present in it. I write pentane. Also there is OH functional group present in it. I write ol. So I get pentanol, which is alcohol. Thus by this way, we can easily name organic compounds of alcohol by knowing alkyl part and OH functional group. Now we will learn naming organic compounds of carboxylic acids. The functional group of carboxylic acid C double bond O, single bond OH. We use oic acid for it. For example, consider this compound. There is only one carbon atom. I write methane. This C double bond O single bond OH is the functional group of carboxylic acid. I write oic acid. So I get methanoic acid. Secondly, consider 2 carbon atoms and O double bond and OH is bonded to it. This carbon has formed one bond, write H3, while this carbon has already formed 4 bonds. There are 2 carbon atoms. I write ethane. Also there is C double OH functional group of carboxylic acid. I write oic acid. So I get ethanoic acid. Thirdly, consider 4 carbon atoms and functional group of carboxylic acid is bonded to 8. I complete the valency of carbon atoms H3, H2 and H2. There are 4 carbon atoms. I write butane. Also there is C double OH functional group. I write oic acid. So I get butanoic acid. Thus by this way, we can easily name carboxylic acids. Finally, let me teach you naming organic compounds of aldehyde and ketones. The functional group of aldehyde is C double bond O single bond H and we use L for it. While the functional group of ketones is C double bond O single bond carbon. We use 1 for it. My personal mnemonic to remember these 2 functional groups is to remember the H in aldehyde and no H in ketones. It means there is hydrogen in the functional group of aldehyde and no hydrogen in the functional group of ketones. Consider 1 carbon atom and functional group of aldehyde is bonded to 8. There is only 1 carbon. I write methane. Also there is functional group of aldehyde. I write L for 8. So I get methanol. Secondly, consider 2 carbon atoms and functional group of aldehyde is bonded to 8. This carbon has formed one bond, write H3. Now there are 2 atoms of carbon. I write ethane. Also, there is a functional group of aldehyde, I write L. So I get ethanol. Thirdly, in case of these carbon atoms, there are 4 carbon atoms. I write H3, H2 and H2. I write butane, and for the functional group of aldehyde, I write L. So I get butanol. Thus by this way, we can name the organic compounds of aldehyde. On the other hand, consider these 3 carbon atoms. Let the functional group of ketones is bonded to this carbon atom. I write H3H3. There are 3 carbon atoms present in it. I write propane. For the functional group of ketone, I write 1. So I get propanone. Similarly, in case of 4 carbon atoms, I get butanone. In case of 5 carbon atoms, I get pentanone. I hope that you have learned all about the nomenclature of organic compounds.